Hi guys, this is Wizard1 on Red Flag Deals bringing you another unboxing of a Chinese smartphone. This time it is the newly released Vernee Apollo Lite mid-range smartphone slash phablet. It was released July the 20th. I purchased this from everbuying.com for $226 US, which is currently the cheapest right now among the various Chinese online retailers carrying this device. Vernee itself, if you're not aware of them, is a relatively new brand that came to market a couple months ago. Their first phone was the super cheap $99 Vernee Thor, which sported a 5-inch 720p screen running an octa-core MediaTek MTK6753 CPU with 3 gigs of RAM. Looking at their product roadmap, it appears they are going to be releasing 3 smartphones this year, one for each of the low, mid, and high range market segments, this being the Thor, the Apollo Lite, and the Apollo respectively. What's really got me interested in buying this phone was the near flagship levels of specs that they were offering at the very reasonable prices. Vernee themselves put out quite a few promotional videos prior to release of the Apollo Lite, where they boldly compared their phone's build quality to that of the OnePlus 3. We'll address this in the full review, whether or not the build quality is actually on par. Okay, so let's quickly just unbox the phone and before we get into the specs. So what we have here is just a pretty standard cardboard box. Let's just put this over here. Okay, so what we have is the phone itself. Let me just power it up. We have a card here that basically shows you how to do the OTA updates for the phone. We have a let's focus there. We have a very basic manual on how to use the phone. We have a USB Type-C charging cable. We have a SIM card eject tool. And lastly, we have a Vernee branded charger. This is actually a quick charger with output capacity of 5 volts, 7 volts, and 9 volts at 2 amps, or 12 volts at 1.5 amps. The reason for these variable rates of charging is because the Apollo Lite supports MediaTek's Pump Express 3.0 quick charging technology, which is supposed to allow you to charge 50% of the battery capacity within only 30 minutes by direct charging of the battery, rather than using traditional methods which require the current to travel through charging circuit found on the motherboard in order to charge the battery. The biggest thing that attracted me to this phone was that it was going to be one of the few phones this year sporting MediaTek's new Helio X20 MTK6797 Deca-Core CPU. Yes, that is 10 cores. MediaTek has touted this new CPU as very powerful, yet very power efficient, as it is based on what they call tri-cluster configuration. So what is a tri-cluster configuration? You can basically compare this to the way gears work on the car. So the first gear sports 4 Cortex A53 cores running at 1.4 gigahertz for very basic computing needs. As needs increase, the second gear will kick in and an additional 4 Cortex A53 cores running at 1.85 gigahertz are activated. Finally, if the full power of the CPU is required, the CPU activates gear number 3, which are the final 2 cores of the phone, which are Cortex A72s running at variable speeds between 2.1 gigahertz and up to 2.3 gigahertz. So what I just described is basically a setup that should allow the CPU to be quite power efficient compared to its predecessors. Aside from this, the new CPU, the phone has 4 gigabytes of RAM, has 32 gigabytes of onboard memory, which can be further expanded up to 128 gigabytes using a micro SD card. It features Cat 6 4G LTE, Android Marshmallow 6.0, 4K recording capabilities, a full metal unibody CNC body, a non-removable 3180 milliamp hour battery, a USB Type-C port, 2 SIM card trays which are right here. So let me just quickly take a look at what the trays have. So we have the first tray here, which supports Nano SIM as well as the micro SD card. The second tray we have here is just for the standard micro SIM card. On the top here, you'll see a standard 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. I was hoping that they would have this headphone jack on the phone because I wasn't sure. They never mentioned that it would be on the phone. They are really stressing the lossless Type-C audio output on this device. On the front, we have a 5.5 inch full HD sharp made IGZO screen, which is protected with a 2.5D arc curved Corning Gorilla Glass display. On the top here we have the ambient light sensor. We also have the front facing 5 megapixel Samsung S5K5E2 sensor. On the back here we have a dual tone flash paired with a Samsung 16 megapixel S5K3P3 autofocus sensor with an aperture size of f2.0, which should give you relatively good pictures. Going on the phone itself, you can see that it's pretty much just stock Android. It has very minimal amount of apps pre-installed on the phone. We have Play Store and basically Chrome, and that's really about it for the official Google apps. The last thing I will look at for this unboxing is the Antutu score, which you can see here clocked in at a very respectable 93,470. So overall, the look and feel and specs of this phone, of this mid-range phone, is actually quite exciting, considering you're only paying $226 US or just under $300 Canadian for a phone with near flagship specs. If you want to compare it to, say, the OnePlus 3, you're looking at basically just under $600 for that phone. So I'll be back in about a week with my full review and impressions on the Vernee Apollo Lite phone. As always, if you like this video, please kindly give me the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you guys again soon.